Oh man. Oh man. I fucking hate this video. I just want to let you know, we're 2 seconds in and I fucking hate this story. I have sat down to film this story in its entirety at least 5 times. I'm gonna be real with you, I'm gonna be straight up with you. This video is going to be a fucking podcast. You are going to be here for 45 minutes at a minimum listening to this story, and that's just the way it's gonna be. And if you don't like it, you can suck my dick. Sorry, I'm angry. I realize the David Dobrik style jump cut, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, every second is so interesting videos are what's in right now, but that's just not gonna happen with this video. And if you want this fucking story, you're here. So strap the fuck in and you're here, okay? And if you don't like it, suck my dick. But really, I sat down right now with 5 espresso shots over ice in a grande cup, a water, a full ass sativa blunt, because I already know this video isn't getting monetized, so I might as well get high. Cue every comment that's like, and this is the start of Tana's downfall. Like I haven't smoked weed since like 7th grade. To be real with you, probably one of the craziest stories I've ever told on my YouTube channel, and it's also probably a bad time to tell it because it's so crazy that I feel like 99% of people are going to hear it and be like, that's fake, your story's fake, you're lying. And I get that. If I heard this story from some dumb bitch at like a Hollywood party, I would be like, yeah, fucking right, like you just want attention, like fuck off, you know? And I get that going into this, and I'm accepting the way it's gonna be, but it's all for the greater good of telling you the story because it is absolutely, without a doubt, in the top 5 craziest things to ever happen to me, maybe even top 3. I don't want to say top 1 because I've been through a lot, but another thing that's really prohibited me from telling this story is, to be real with you, like how bad it makes me look. And not only how bad it makes me look, but like my mom's gonna watch this. Like, hi mom, Jordan's gonna watch this. Hi Jordan, I'm sorry. Every guy to potentially ever date me ever may come across this video, and I'm accepting that going into it, and it sucks. So like, if you're gonna date me, like I didn't have, that would be a lie. I was gonna say I didn't have a sugar daddy, but like this is literally a sugar daddy. If you're gonna date me and you're watching this, I didn't sell my pussy for money, if you're wondering. Hi future boyfriend, like can't wait to get married. Like, I mean, I guess we should just get right into it. I just want you to know, like, if you are watching this, this is for you. I gave up on this video mentally for me like 6 months ago when I filmed it the 4th time. Every single time I film it, it's 4 hours of footage. I've edited it every single time, and then I pussy out, I delete the footage, like whatever. Like at this point, it is entirely for you. I don't want to do this, but I want you to know. Yeah, this also might be my next video. So like, what's up, real time? Fuck with me, David Dobrik. Just kidding, he's doing just fine. And if you want to subscribe and click that little bell to turn your notifications on, because this is gonna be so demonetized. Sorry, I rely on those little notification bells, you know? This story takes place almost a year ago, which is insane because I've been trying to film this story since it like took place a few months prior. What is my life? I had just gotten off of my first world tour, 40 shows, hadn't been home, hadn't had any time to relax, I've been working my ass off, and I was finally ready to take a break and have fun with my friends. And so Airbnb was nice enough to give me this fucking dope ass house in Los Angeles in Hollywood Hills to stay in for a week and just kind of relax and get work done in LA and like party and like whatever the fuck. So I'm staying in this house. It's fucking beautiful. Like literally, it's like this gorgeous mansion in Hollywood Hills. I'm not over exaggerating. I will literally link the house tour below. And I'm living lavish as fuck. I want to keep living lavish like any bitch. And for some reason, at this time in life, oh god, this story is so long. Like right now, I feel like I'm at the bottom of this giant ass mountain that I just have to like talk my way through for the next 5 hours. A little bit of backstory very, very quickly. I feel like at this time of life more than ever, getting a sugar daddy and having a sugar daddy and having a sugar daddy buy you stuff and like all that kind of bullshit was so like prevalent in the world. Like that's what I feel like all like jokes on Twitter were about and like what everyone was talking about at the time, and it was like so much more of like a mystery then. And all of my like YouTuber friends in LA, and I'm talking like your favorite beauty gurus who you think have like never sucked a dick before, like all had secret sugar daddies buying all their designer bags. Literally, I'm not even kidding you. I remember being at BeautyCon and one of my favorite beauty gurus literally showing me the pussy pics. She was going to Snapchat her sugar daddy so that he would send her like $200. Like she was literally just doing it for like the thrill of it. Like this bitch was making like 20 racks at BeautyCon to like smile with the lipstick. And she was out here popping her pussy for like $20 for a guy that she met on Seeking Arrangements like 5 hours prior. It made no sense to me. And like all my friends in Vegas, like at home that I like grew up with and went to high school with were like on Seeking Arrangements and would like post on their Finstas about it. And I followed all their Finstas and I was always seeing these like Vegas Vegas hoes who like came from fucking nothing, like had no money just like me and came up like me with like Gucci bags because they're like going on lunch dates. It was just everywhere. So I stay in this house for like 4 or 5 days, and it's the last night that we're all in this house. I just want to let you know I'm so high that I literally feel like I'm floating from like those 4 hits of weed, and I'm trying to like talk my way through it, but it's like very difficult because I literally feel like a genie like in a bottle, like right now, like floating above this couch. Okay, anyways. And so I stay in this house for like 4 or 5 days, whatever, and now it's the last night that we're staying there, and everyone decides to go out. Like Elijah, this was before he was with Sam, so his like boothing from Grindr, Jordan, and like everyone decided to go out, and for some reason I decided I wanted to stay in and just kind of like relish in the house, have some alone time, and just like I literally hadn't been alone in like 2 months because I'd been on tour like every single day, like hadn't been alone. And so I'm laying on the couch in this mansion all by myself, and like all the lights are off, and like the lights of like Hollywood Hills are like out the window, and it's beautiful, and all of the lights and like music to the house is like on my phone, so I have it like set to my like vibe, and I'm like drinking an Earth Cafe smoothie, like laying on this fuzzy ass blanket, just like, good God, I want to live like this for the rest of my life. And I guess I'm just sitting there like, how would one finesse this lifestyle? Obviously that YouTube coin is dope. This was when AdSense was significantly better as well. I was making money at the time, but it's like you never know how long YouTube's gonna last, and everyone ingrains into your brain that it's like 2 fucking seconds and you should have a million other outlets of income and all that bullshit. And so I'm just sitting there and I decide it's time to download an app called Seeking Arrangements. This is not sponsored by Seeking Arrangements, but it just should be. Like no one will ever give Seeking Arrangements a harder promotion than I'm about to in this video, and I'm getting no coin for it. Story of my life. There's basically no other app for like sugar daddies and sugar babies meeting and like all that kind of stuff. Like this is pretty much the only app. It's what everyone uses, including all of your favorite YouTubers. So hop on there and, you know, try to find me or someone else. I'm just kidding. It's just like you hop on, it's like Emma Chamberlain like in a scrunchie, like we'll pop pussy for 20 bucks. It's just like JoJo Siwa. It's just like Colleen Ballinger pregnant as fuck, like pics for cash. But I hop on it, I make my profile, I make my fake name, because you have to have a fake name on there. My fake name is fucking hilarious, by the way, but I still use it, so I can't really tell you it, but just know, like, me to you, like, it's funny as fuck. And so after setting up my entire profile, I make my location just like nearby. That's a really good fucking way to get murdered. God, I'm stupid. Because I'm in this prime location in Hollywood Hills. Where else would you find better sugar daddies? Why not just work from the inside out? I make my location nearby and I start thumbing through people's profiles. Oh my God, this story is so fucking long. Like I'm literally just like 1/1000th of the way in. Like I want to die. And so basically their profiles just consist of like pictures of them, what they're looking for, what type of relationship they're looking for, their height, their weight, like if they're married, if they've ever been married, if they have kids, what their net worth is, like how much they made last year, like all this kind of stuff. And they have to verify all of that information as well with like bank statements through Seeking Arrangements. Was that English? So basically no one can really lie about their income or lie about anything on the website because they have to verify everything, you know, so it's safer. I'm thumbing through these profiles of all these men, and as I'm just looking through it, it's like ugly ass, like I'm sorry, like I'm sure you could have been hot like 85 years ago, but just ugly ass old men in like BDSM and like leather and like ball gags, or just like grandpas in funeral homes with bios like suck and fuck me for a wallet, baby girl, like you know what I mean, or like spank me, come step on my balls, like you know. It wasn't my vibe. I wasn't really feeling it. Being on the app for like 20 minutes was just so like degrading. It just wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. And I'm not saying every profile is like that. If you're looking for a sugar daddy, it definitely gets the job done, and it's also a great app. This still isn't a sponsorship. I just feel bad because I love them. I'm like connected to them. We have like me and Seeking Arrangements, like we've been through a lot. And I'm about to get off the app, like sign off, like probably delete it, never use it again forever. I'm like, I'll just click one more profile. And so I clicked this guy's profile. And even at first I'm looking through his photos. He's definitely still an older dude, and he's not my type physically in any way, but his photos are very normal. They're like nice professional photos of him like on a yacht, and like God, I sound so fucking stupid. And I just spilled espresso all over the floor, and I rent this house. I got up like I was gonna clean the espresso, like it's just gonna stay there. Like I literally got up, turned the camera off, and then just turned it back on and sat down. Like the espresso is like still spilling on my floor. And I scroll down more, and like his bio is very normal. It's literally just like, been using this app for a while, find that it works better because I have very limited time, da da da, blah blah blah. I understand the premise of the way this dating website works, but would love to find someone with a connection or that I could have a good conversation with. Also an entrepreneur, also a mentor, would love to help you in any business aspects. Like a very normal and like great bio. And his entire profile is great, you know, it's not like he's married, he doesn't have kids. And then I scroll down a little further, And this is where you're gonna start to not believe me, and I get that. Fucking don't. But his net worth was $100 million. He was fully verified on the app, diamond member, bank statements to prove it. Not that I'm like a seasoned seeking arrangements veteran, because I'm not, but I feel like the average net worth on the app is like 1 to 2 million, like maybe 5. If you find 10, like you freak out, you know what I mean? And most of them are even less than that, you know? Like, I hadn't seen $100 million net worth on the app yet, and I don't know of anyone else who had. And I was like, what the fuck? This is too good to be true. And so I sit there and I debate it for a second, and I'm like, honestly, fuck it. I guess I probably should have explained this further, but like, I definitely should have explained this further, because you've gone this far into the video thinking that I might be okay with being a prostitute. But I guess very quickly, I want to explain or clarify, apologize, pre-scandal. I didn't go into this wanting to like fuck an old man for money, and I would literally never do that. Like, my vagina would be drier than the Sahara Desert, and I'm just cool off that. Like, I honestly went into this like, if I can go on a lunch date with some dude who wants to like pay little bitches like me for their company and get like a Gucci wallet out of it, that would be cool. If like some old dude wants to like text me all day about like his shitty day at the office and like he's paying all my rent and bills for it, like hell yeah. Like, I'm so sorry that the fax machine didn't work. You know, I love doing things like that, like things that are a little risky, things that are a little adrenaline rushy, things that are a little like wrong. I'm an asshole, nice to meet you. And I've always been that bitch who has a little bit of hustle in her. I grew up like that, like, you know what I mean? Even though I like make good money now, it's like, why would I pay my bills when I could like be like, hey daddy, like how was your day? To like have all my bills paid and then save my money, because in like a year I'm not gonna be relevant, you know? And I'm not saying that I'm against people who do that, like literally pop your pussy for whatever you want in this life. I'm gonna put that on a plaque. Like, if you popped your pussy for a hot and spicy at McDonald's, like if you wanted that hot and spicy, like go the fuck off. Like, I'm not judging you, I don't give a fuck. I have no room to judge anyone for anything. I'm just saying. I was just down for like lunch dates for a Birkin. And so I'm sitting there looking at my phone, debating messaging him, and in my head I'm just kind of like, you just look through like 100 guys on this app and think about how horrible they were, how much lower their net worths were than this guy, oh my god, how bad their bios were, how bad their photos were, like whatever, on and on and on. You probably won't come across this opportunity again. You've also never been a bitch, Tana. What is DMing him gonna hurt? You never know where this can go. It probably won't get much better than this. Do it right now. Just do it. I've always been that kind of person. If I think about it too long, or I ponder over it, I'll go back and forth, or I'll talk myself out of it. Like, I have to just be impulsive, like high risk, high reward, like let's go, or high risk and really fuck up, but you know, whatever. And so I do it. I slide in his DMs. And so I'm sitting there and I'm also starting to realize that I'm like super bummed, because I'm leaving back to Vegas in like a day. And if this guy lives in Hollywood Hills and he's like nearby, whatever, I might not get to see him until the next time I come to LA, and like that would suck. So I wait for him to message me back. He doesn't. I go to sleep, wake up the next day, still no message back. I'm just kind of telling myself like, if it's meant to be, it will be. Moving on with my life, like not even expecting a message back, whatever. And so finally, I check out of this house. I fly home to Vegas, get in an Uber to my apartment at the time. This is actually like right after I'd just gotten evicted and was living in such a shitty apartment. I think that was also fueling me to just like have a sugar daddy. I walk into my apartment and put my bags down. And the second I put my bags down, I get on my phone and I see a message back on seeking arrangements from this guy. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And then he's like, hey, so sorry. I hadn't messaged you back yet because I was traveling to Vegas. I'm gonna be in Vegas for the next 2 or 3 days, but when I'm back in Hollywood, I'll hit you up. Like, has no idea that I live in Vegas. Didn't write anywhere on my thing that I was born in Vegas or have a house out there or like live out there. My thing is not my real name. There's no way he like knows me as some little YouTube bitch. Like, this dude's like 50. He has no idea. And so I message back and I'm like, dude, this is so weird, but I literally just landed in Vegas and walked in my house. And he's like, what the fuck? I literally never come to Vegas. I'm like 20 years sober. I don't drink. I don't gamble. Like, I'm out here for a business meeting. Just took the jet out here. I just flew Southwest. And I could have been on this man's jet. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy, dude. Not to be like a what are the odds ass bitch, but what are the odds that the one guy I message out of hundreds and hundreds of guys doesn't message me back until I land in Vegas saying that he's in Vegas too, when he has no idea that I'm in Vegas? Like, the fact that we were literally both like traveling to Vegas at the same time from LA, from Hollywood, and like had no idea. It's just, it was really weird to me, and it was super coincidental. And I also feel like it made me want to do it 10 times more, because it's like the stars were aligning. I felt like it was a sign from the universe, you know? He gives me his number, he texts me and he tells me his real name. Like, hey, it's blah, blah, blah. That's my real name, by the way. And then he says something like, and if you want to know more about me, like, you can Google me, LOL. And first of all, I'm like, me to every muser ever. Me to every Uber driver. It's a little narcissistic, but I feel like most guys that are on this app are, and like, obviously, like, I don't really care. We can all be a little narcissistic, sweetie. I've been looking in the viewfinder the entire time. I know. Immediately upon Googling him, it's like, his name, award-winning producer, Oscars 3, Emmys 2. Let me just fucking Google his ass right now, honestly. Why even front? Like, why even lie? Like, when I can just fucking Google it. Grammy Awards, nominations for Primetime Emmy Awards. The first result is his own website, which is this huge ass website. Billboard articles, interviews after interviews after interviews, Forbes articles, IMDb's, verified Twitter, whatever, all this crazy shit. And I feel like most guys on Seeking Arrangements also are like, I own a car dealership in Glendale, so I make a little extra coin, and if you want a Michael Kors bag, suck my balls. You know what I mean? Like, they're not. I'm so sorry. Like, no other YouTuber would ever say that. They're not like Googleable and with like insane repertoires like this one. They just have a little extra coin, or like they're a lawyer, or like they're a doctor. Okay, so my SD card ran out of space because we've already been filming for like 9 hours and we're 1:10 into the story. Time to drink some crack. And all of the related searches are like his name, like yacht, his name net worth, his name Wikipedia. People may also search for Janis Joplin, Michael Jackson, The Doors, The Ramones, Jim Morrison, Johnny Depp. Like, why is he being like compared to these people? Like, what? Like, I'm not even that mainstream. Like, if you search me, it's like May compared to Iggy Azalea, but like put through a blender, you know? May compared to Bella Thorne, but like clout chasier. No. And obviously, I know that this sounds so fucking stupid in hindsight, but I'm also just walking you through my thought process, and we all know that I am so fucking stupid at times. I remember in the moment thinking to myself, because he's Googleable, like, he won't kill me either. Like, because he's Googleable, he's not gonna like tie me up and... But Harvey Weinstein is also Googleable, and I should think these things through. I don't know, I remember being more inclined to want to reply now that I'd like Googled him and like verified who he was and like whatever. We basically just start texting back and forth, having small talk, and he's actually also witty and funny and like holding a good conversation and like isn't boring, and like I would have totally expected him to be like, what's LOL mean? Like, lots of love? Outdated, I guess, and he like wasn't. I'm like, you know what an emoji is, daddy? And he's like, honestly, this is gonna sound very, very upfront, and normally I would talk to girls for months on Seeking Arrangements, and I've literally never done this, but what are the odds that we're both in Vegas for the next 2 days, and I had a meeting tonight but they just canceled? Would you like to get dinner? And so I debate it for a second, I ask all my friends, I FaceTime Amari, I'm like freaking out, I can't decide. But again, I'm like, what are the fucking odds? Like, I'm only in Vegas for the next like 5 days. I put my shit for nearby in Hollywood Hills. What are the odds that like, I meet this guy, we're in Vegas at the same time, you get it, whatever. Like, just fucking do it. And that's another thing. I'd seen so many of my friends' conversations with guys on Seeking Arrangements on their Finstas or in life or whatever, and it was always just the guy being like, how much are you? Like, what's your price? Like, can I pay you this much to fuck you? It's like, do you want this dick, baby girl? Like, shitty shit. And like, he's asking me to dinner and it's this normal conversation. He's Googleable and like all this shit, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. I say yes, and he's like, okay, like, what's your address? I'm sending a driver for you, like, they'll pick you up at this time. And even at that time, this was before I feel like drivers were a common thing in my life, and like the fact that this guy just has like a driver in Vegas that he can send for me, and like that he is sending a driver for me, like, that's dope. And so I'm immediately like impressed. I'm like, what's going on? So I give him my address, I start getting ready. I'm wearing like a House of CB like bodycon dress and like Spanx and like Louboutins, which, by the way, looking back, like, wear Target heels so they want to buy you Louboutins, dumbass. But Tana's school for sugar babies. Class 1, don't wear the Louboutins. And so I get entirely ready. This is like the only thing in my entire life I've ever been on time for ever. He texts me and tells me that the driver will be there in like 20 minutes, whatever, and that we're having dinner at the Wynn. And even that's dope as fuck. In my opinion, the Wynn is one of the nicest hotels in Vegas. I feel like it's very classy as fuck. Really, really dope architecture. Really, really nice restaurants. Like, yeah, if I'm trying to do like Molly at an ice skating rink in Vegas, maybe I want to go to the Cosmopolitan, but if I'm trying to get money from a sugar daddy, the Wynn's like classy, you know? And so he texts me and he's like, the driver's outside, take your time, whatever. And so I walk outside, and this is just a random coincidence, and I realized this video's a podcast, but I told you, like, whatever, suck a dick. In Vegas, I would always Uber everywhere. But I had this favorite Uber driver. When I lived at my loft in Vegas, he lived like right next door. So every single time I would request an Uber Select, I would get this driver and he was like my homie. He would like let me smoke in the car. He would let me and my friends squeeze. He would drive me to the airport for cheap or whatever. He's like my homie. Like shout out Goran. If you're watching this, I fuck with you. I love you. And I hadn't seen him in like 4 months because I'd been on tour and I'd been in Los Angeles. Like he literally drove me and all my friends like packed in his car with our suitcases to the airport to go on tour. And there are hundreds upon hundreds of drivers in Vegas. Vegas is probably one of the biggest cities in the world for drivers. And the odds of Goran pulling up to my house are 1 in a billion. And I walk outside and he's standing outside of my house with the door open. And he just looks at me and I know him very well. Keep in mind, I've ridden in his car hundreds and upon hundreds of times. We've had so many conversations. He has daughters that are like fans of me. I like FaceTime them. I fucking love them. Shout out to them if you're watching this. Don't get a sugar daddy. Your dad is dope. And he just looks at me like super confused. And he was like, Tana, I had no idea that you knew blank, like the name of the sugar daddy. I didn't see you as that kind of girl. Ouch! Ow! Like, ooh! Like solder my heart with a chainsaw, you know what I mean? Because he's like this father figure and I like know his daughters. Like I would have just loved if this driver would have been a random guy. And like it just, oh, okay, like cool, let's go to the win. Now I'm also starting to have these like thoughts of doubt and go to church, like bathe in holy water, you're a whore, like oh my god, don't do this. It's a lot. I'm overwhelmed. It's an overwhelming car ride. And so we drive to the Wynn. Goran drops me off. The second I open the door to get out of the car, there are 4 guys standing there in like full suits, CIA suits, Secret Service suits. I realize this is another part of the story that you may not believe, but suck a dick. And also if you don't believe that, just click off because but it's a podcast. I hate this video. Fuck. 4 dudes in Secret Service suits walk up to the car and they're like, you're Tana, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, like we're with da-da-da, the name of your sugar daddy, we're his security, we're gonna be taking you to dinner, whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, first of all, am I about to get like murdered by these like men in black like spies? Why does he have 4 security guards with like earpieces? Like, what the fuck is going on? And so they walk me all the way through the Wynn Hotel. We're walking for like so long. My feet hurt so bad in the red bottoms. I'm so brave. People are looking at me so weird in the hotel. And it's also like, what if I see a fan? Like, what do I say? What if I see anyone I know? I'm in Vegas. It's finally sinking in. Like, you're literally walking to like a seeking arrangements date right now with a guy that you've never met who's like 50, who has a net worth of $100 million and is more successful than you'll ever be, being walked through the Wynn right now by the Secret Service. Like, what? And so finally we walk all the way through the Wynn and we like pass every restaurant and I'm like, okay, am I just gonna get murdered? And we walk over to like what looks like it's just like a sculpture on a wall. And you can go to the Wynn, you can find this, and they walk up to it and it's actually a door. And they open this door into this like secret, full giant restaurant. Fully staffed secret restaurant. I don't know if I should be talking about it, but like also I didn't sign an NDA, so come for me, Secret Wynn restaurant. I walk in, there's like a girl at a podium, whatever. The security drops me off and the girl at the podium is like, Mr. Da-da-da, we'll see you now. Like straight out of 50 Shades of Grey. I just want you to understand this entire experience. Literally could have a movie made about it. Fuck. What? I just want like Margot Robbie to play me because like I'm ugly, you know? And so she walks me to the back of the restaurant, to the bar, and this guy is sitting there and he stands up. I'm 5'7" and I'm in like 5-inch heels. So that literally makes me like, I can't do math, 6 something. And he stands up and it is, I kid you not, the tallest man I've ever seen in my life. Like he's towering over me. And earlier in the text, he had said something super weird, like wear heels with like a smirk emoji. And honestly, in the back of my head, I just thought it's like another one of those like step on my balls dudes and like maybe he wanted me to wear heels or maybe he liked heels or whatever. And I realized that it was because he was referencing that he was an oak tree. I'm like, hi, I'm Tana, it's nice to meet you. He's like, hi, I'm, what's like an old man name? I'm Jim, it's nice to meet you. So yeah, we're gonna call him Jim for the rest of the video. I'm high as fuck, I hope that makes sense. We walk over to the table and I look around and I realize, like, it's a Friday night. This restaurant could be poppin' and there's no one in it. Like he rented out the entire restaurant. And we're sitting in the back of the restaurant in this insane 4-poster like booth with like curtains all around it, silverware and everything is like gorgeous and like detailed and there's like flowers on the table and like music playing. It's gorgeous. And I'm like, you rented out this entire restaurant? And he's like, yeah, I can't really do things normally, but like I also wanted to impress you or something like that. And I'm like, oh my god. I totally went into this date assuming as well, from everything that every other girl with like actual sugar daddies say and like all that kind of stuff, that the conversation was going to be really boring and it would be like listening to your dad talk. That's creepy. I don't want to say that. Let me rewind. Just listening to an old man talk and like pretending to care, talking about the crossword and like Sunday morning's paper, you know? And I sit down and I start talking to him and we just dive into this amazing conversation, which I will get into in a second. And I'm such a conversationalist. I'm such a stickler for that. That is how you win my heart. Like, I never fall for someone unless we have like amazing deep conversations. I hate small talk. I love hearing people's life stories. I love picking people's brains. I love people who aren't afraid to just delve into a conversation balls deep about something actually with substance, because like we're only on this earth for so much time. Why spend our time talking about the weather and fucking the Kardashians and whatever when we can actually learn shit from each other? And that's all we really have to offer each other in this life is knowledge. I'm sorry I'm high. You get the point though. But even as we start this conversation, it's crazy. Every waiter that comes up to him is like folding his napkin and like, yes, Mr. Da-da-da, like, oh my god, like, just sucking the fart out of his asshole, you know, attending to his every move. Like, he literally can look at his water glass and they're like already on their way to like refill it. The same thing for me, treating us like royalty. Like, I don't know what's going on and it's so much to take in all at once. We dive into this conversation and I'm like, I want to know all about your life. I want to know all about what you do and how you're here and why everything is the way it is. I'm such a brain picker as is, and obviously with like everything that's going on so far, like the driver and the security and the secret restaurant and the rented out restaurant, everything on Google like is so fucking weird and out of the ordinary. And obviously, even if all I get out of this is like picking this dude's brain, like I'm about it, you know? And so he's like, you know, like I'm 50 whatever, 40 whatever, something like that. Definitely 50 whatever. I only said 40 whatever to make me sound less bad, but like we're already balls deep. And basically he's like, I manage dead people. That was the first thing out of his mouth. And I was like, what? Okay, so can you contact all my dead friends and tell them that I miss them? Sorry, that was dark. But really, I'm like, what? And so I'm like, okay, so he's just like a medium maybe. And he's like, no, I'm a talent manager for famed artists that like passed away, like Michael Jackson and Kurt Cobain and Janis Joplin and the Doors and the Ramones. And I manage some people that are alive, obviously. And the Beatles, how could I forget the Beatles? I manage all of the greats that have passed away. Because even though they passed away, like their legacy still lives on and their records still sell and they still have merch. And like think about every basic bitch you've ever seen in like a Brandy Melville like Ramones t-shirt, like he's getting a cut of that, you know what I mean? I'm literally like, that's insane. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. I've always been into talent management anyways. Like I think it's the coolest thing ever because behind every star is like their manager and their team who puts it all together and does all that kind of stuff. And it's such a hard job, let alone doing it for dead people, because in reality, Michael Jackson isn't alive to make a decision about where shirts with his face get sold or like what songs of his like work and whatever. And that's like what this guy does. He makes those decisions. So does that mean like Michael Jackson's family and Janis Joplin's family and Kurt Cobain's family and like whatever trust this man enough to like what's going on? We dive into that and we start talking about that more, and it's just so clear that he's such a fucking intelligent businessman, and he's actually very humble about it and super knowledgeable, and it's a cool ass life, and he's super cool and witty and funny and mentally young, I guess. I feel like that sounds bad. And so then we pause the conversation for a second. One of the waiters comes by and asks us if we want a drink. And I mean, this video is already demonetized and you already look at me differently, so what's the point of admitting to another like sin, I guess? Sin City, baby. Vegas. I decided I want a drink, so I like use my fake ID. He orders a Diet Coke and the waiter walks away and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, like I'm sober, sorry, but like feel free to drink in front of me. So I don't really think anything of it. I just think it's like for his health or whatever. And I'm like, oh, like why? And he's like, I was a heroin addict. I'm a recovered heroin addict. I was addicted to heroin for like 5 to 10 years of my life, and like I should have died. What? And so I just step out of my body for a second and I'm like, okay, so like you did just take a car service to the Wynn and like you pulled up and there was like 5 CIA agents and they brought you through the secret door to like the secret restaurant, and like you're empty in it with this man who could like kill you, but like this man also manages like Michael Jackson, so like why would he kill you when like he's worth $100 million and he's like on this date with you, and now he was a recovering heroin addict too? What? And then I get back into my body and I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, like I grew up super poor, I grew up in the projects. And keep in mind, he's like this giant balding old man in a suit. Like you would would just never expect it. And he's like, I had no will to live. I had no purpose in life. I dropped out of school. I didn't want to go to college. I was doing heroin every single day for years upon years upon years, jumping from people's couch to couch, stealing from people to sell shit for heroin, fucking selling drugs to get money for heroin, stealing money to get money for heroin, injecting in every part of my body. I'd been in and out of the hospital all year because I would always almost overdose and then just be fine and whatever. And like, I was a lost cause. I didn't want to live. I didn't have any purpose. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Like, I was 28 years old or whatever, and a ticking time bomb who was addicted to heroin. He'd almost overdosed like 10 times. Every time he would go to the hospital, they would basically tell him, if you keep living like this and keep doing this much heroin, like, he wasn't eating, he was literally just eat, breathe, sleeping heroin. If you keep doing this, like, you're gonna die. And so then, because he could no longer inject it into his veins, he wouldn't even feel it anymore. He started injecting it into his legs and his thighs, because that's what like crazy heroin addicts do apparently. Once you don't feel it in all of the normal places, you have to start doing it in crazy places, like under your toenails and in your thighs and like whatever. And he was like, but when you inject that much into your thighs, it starts to pool up and infect itself and eat away at like all of your bone marrow and your ligaments and your veins and just everything, and go into your body and basically kill you. And he's like, I just want you to keep in mind, I'm assuming you've never done heroin, but like, it's the most addictive drug in the world. I tried to quit hundreds upon hundreds of times, but the withdrawal symptoms make you feel like you're dying and make you feel like you're so sick. The medicine that they give you to get you off of it makes you feel absolutely horrible, and you hate your life and you're so suicidal, and all you want to do is relapse and go back to doing heroin, and your life is run by this addiction, and it's the most impossible thing in the world to get off of. And I was 100% convinced that I would be on it for the rest of my life, that I would just die. One day he was doing heroin and shooting up into his leg, and he did too much and he passes out, like overdoses, whatever you want to call it, isn't responsive. And his roommate comes home, sees that he's like that, calls 911, but this was also kind of a common thing, so it wasn't out of the ordinary, I guess. He wakes up in the hospital and he has all the IVs in him and the withdrawal medicine like pumping into his veins, and they say to him, listen, if you ever do this again, you're at the point right now of what you're doing that if you even injected a droplet of heroin into your leg, you'll probably die. And by the way, right now, we're gonna have to amputate your leg. Like, imagine being 28 years old in the hospital, like with all of this circumstance, and now you're gonna have your leg amputated because of how much heroin you've put into it. I told you this story was crazy, and it just gets crazier. He looks at them and he's like, fuck no, fuck you, like, I don't care. I don't believe you. I don't wanna get my leg amputated. Like, I'm out this bitch. Rips the IVs out of his arm, leaves the hospital, goes home, sits down on the couch, and injects heroin right back into his leg like he did 24 hours previously. And the second he does it, he passes out this time, but this time he dies. And so again, his roommate finds him, calls 911. He goes to the hospital. They literally revive him. He wakes up again to the same scenario. The nurses and the doctors and whatever sitting around him telling him, you just did die. We told you this yesterday. You're lucky to be alive right now and still could die. You can't keep doing heroin. And if you ever inject it again, you will die. And now we're gonna have to amputate your leg like we told you yesterday. And at this point, I am fully locked into this story, as I'm assuming you are too. It's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Imagine being so addicted to heroin that you do that. And I'm like, okay, so you have your legs. I'm like low-key under the table, like trying to figure out if one of his legs is like prosthetic, sorry. He's like, but that's the difference. When I died, or whatever happened to me, like when I flatlined, when I was in the hospital, when they were reviving me, when I died, like imagine being able to say that to someone, like, when I died, this happened. I had a vision. I saw my future. I was clean off of heroin. I was a businessman in a suit managing dead artists. And I felt like this voice in my head, or God, or whatever you want to call it, was giving me a second chance at life to manage dead artists. I didn't know that I would love this or whatever until I had this vision when I died. I have goosebumps on my entire body right now talking about this because it's the most insane fucking story I've ever heard in my life. That's one thing that's really cool about the direction of my channel, is being able to start to tell other people's stories, and I'm so excited to keep doing that because this tops anything that could ever happen to me ever. But I guess it also did happen to me because I was at dinner with this, okay, you get it. And he's like, so I did the same thing as the day before. I ripped the IVs out of my arm. I storm out of the hospital. But this time, I never do heroin again. I go through all of the withdrawal symptoms, and like, keep in mind, he's tried to quit so many times, even on the drugs to help you from withdrawal, with guidance, with Narcotics Anonymous groups, with everything. He's tried to quit hundreds of times, all of the traditional, normal ways. But this vision he had when he died made him quit cold turkey. And he's like, so then I just started grinding, learning everything I could about the management industry, reading book after book after book, got a regular job, made enough money to live in a normal place with people who like weren't junkies and whatever, somehow convinced the family of Janis Joplin to let him like manage her career and like optimize it and make money, and it just spiraled out of control from there. And he's sitting there telling me how he loves every second of it too. But like, not only did he have this vision, and like, not only did he make it come true, and that nothing ever gave him purpose in life ever until he did this. So many of those things are so attractive and awesome to me. I love people with insane drive. I love people willing to take high risks. I love when people are so passionate about something that they will do everything that they have to do until they get what they want or get to where they want. I love people who are willing to do things out of the ordinary. They're risky and not traditional to get somewhere, create a dream for them, you know? I love hearing stories about people who came from nothing and turned that into something, because I think those kind of people are just so fucking incredible. And I feel like most sane people would probably look at that and be like, damn, you're an ex-heroin addict, like that's bad. And that's why most people live more normal lives than me. But to me, it's like you overcame that. And so the date's coming to an end, but before it did, we had talked for a second about seeking arrangements. It was very clear to me that he actually did kind of use it as like a dating app. He was down to like find love on the app, which is kind of insane. I don't know, but whatever. And it was also very clear to me that every girl he'd ever been on a date with from this app, he'd talked to for months before. And so I asked him outright, I'm like, have you ever done this? And he's like, honestly, no. I don't like to waste my time. I don't have a lot of it. I normally will talk to a girl for months on the app and months over texting. And if I think she's intelligent enough and dope enough and we have a connection and whatever, then maybe we'll go to dinner. And that's how I've always done it. You're the first person I've ever done this with on impulse. And then I'm sitting there like, you're the first person I've ever been on a seeking arrangements date. And I'm like, what's going on? And like, obviously, I'm not like physically attracted to this guy, but like this whole situation is just so insane. It's like I'm wrapped up in this whirlwind and it hadn't even began yet. This is a fucking podcast. Are you starting to understand? Oh my God, this story is so crazy. And like literally all of that is the preface. Like that stuff sounds normal in comparison to the rest of the story. Well, no, I wasn't even gonna put this in, but I mean, even though we just got deep as fuck for a second, this still is like a Tana Moja story time, and I have to be real with you. So then the check comes and he goes to the bathroom, and I don't know if like sugar daddies are rich men, or I don't know how $100 million net worth humans work. He leaves and the check is on the table, and I don't know if, again, like I said, if he was doing that to flex or whatever, but like I ain't never been a bitch, so I look at it and it's like a $12,000 dinner. And again, even though YouTube coin is like a thing for me, I will never see money like that. And even if I did, I wouldn't spend it like that. And growing up the way I did, it's like mind-blowing to me still. So he comes back, I'm pretending like I didn't just look at the check, and it was like a $500 dinner, and I'm like humble and whatever. He pays for the meal and he's like, listen, normally I never do this and I'm staying on the strip, but I'm not done talking to you. I still have so much more to say. We just got so lost in conversation. Can I ride home with you and the driver and drop you off and like see you to your house? And again, looking back, could have definitely murdered me. But I'm just so caught up in this. Like, what if I never see him again and I don't want to end this conversation yet? And I'm so interested, and it's like, fine, let's just go. We leave, we're walking out of the hotel, the security walk us out. People are taking photos of him and stopping him, and it's like adults, like asking for him to like sign like a printed final photo of him, you know what I mean? On some adult shit. Like, it's not like, can we get like a dog filter? Like adults, it's like fangirling over him. But then it's also like, as I'm walking with him and all these people are like fangirling over him, it's in my head, it's like, would this even be a life I would want to live, even if that means for like money or nice things or whatever? Like, do I just want to be like do I want to be viewed by the world as the dumb blonde bitch on his arm who's with him for the money? Because no matter what, like that's how society is going to look at it. It's not like anyone would see a photo of me and him and be like, damn, like she must be deep. Like, it's just not the way the world works. And as I'm like realizing that, and just the way people are looking at me, even as I'm like walking with him, it's a lot to take in. And so we get back in the car, it's Goran, he's driving us, it's weird as fuck again, because he's always driven like me and my young ass friends around, or like me and my young ass boyfriends who like boyfriend, sorry. My young ass boyfriend, and Gordon knows me. He knows I'm not into this like old ass man, and it's just weird. We're riding in the car and he's like, and it's so funny too because it's like a little Mercedes and he's like 6'7". He's like hunching in the car. It's such an interesting dynamic. And he looks at me and he's like, I didn't even get to say any of this to you because we were so caught up in conversation at dinner, but I'm actually here for the next few days because it's Michael Jackson's birthday. Obviously I manage his estate, and the one show here is something that is it one? Michael Jackson one, I think. The one show here is something that I worked on and I put together, and even that's crazy. Growing up in Vegas and seeing billboards all the time for the Michael Jackson show, and like this man like did that, and like and he's like, so they're doing like an honorary event for Michael Jackson's birthday. His whole family's going. Basically, they rented out the entire theater for the one show for friends and family and like people of Michael Jackson, people of Michael Jackson's team and dancers and celebrities to come watch the Michael Jackson show in Vegas in like celebratory honor of him. And he's like, it's totally a work thing for me, and normally I would never do this, but you and I really hit it off. I'm only here for one more day. I really like you. I think that you would really enjoy it. Will you be my date tomorrow? And I'm like, damn, I'm sitting in this car and I'm like, wow, so A, he does fuck with me. B, he wants to go on a second date. C, I don't think I want to do this though. D, I'm uncomfortable. I could never like kiss this man. I could never sleep with this man. Like, I don't know if I could ever fathom actually dating him and going around life with this man and the way that people are viewing me and the way that people are treating me. But also like, this is exactly what you wanted from this app, but 10,000 times better. Like, you're never gonna get this opportunity. The majority of men you meet like own a kickboxing rink and want to fuck you for money. You also just had this amazing conversation and like you're hitting it off, and why not just fucking do it? Like, it's not like you're gonna sleep with him or kiss him or do any of that anyways. Like, just go on the date, whatever. And so I say yes. Dude, so mid-filming, I just switched battery packs. I literally bought a second battery for my camera just to film this video, because telling this story, I literally go through an entire battery and then I dropped my camera and I just broke it. Like, I just broke my camera mid-story time because I needed to put a whole new battery in the camera to continue the fucking story. My viewfinder's upside down. I can't see anything. I don't know what's going on. Help me, help me. I literally just broke my camera. Like, viewfinder does not work at all now, like mid-story. This is my 40th time filming this video, and every single time I do it, something bad happens. Maybe that's just the universe telling me not to upload it because I don't want to anyways, but here we are. Like, is it even recording? Like, I don't know. Like, hey, like, are you here? I go home, I'm like coming down off this date. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? This is gonna make a great story time one day. I didn't think it would be this soon, but here we are. And what's crazy is nothing had even happened yet. At this point, I was already laying in bed thinking about how insane of a story this was, and nothing insane had even happened yet, really. I wake up the next day. It's Michael Jackson's birthday. I start getting ready, like full glam, for like 5 hours, and I show up to the Mandalay Bay Hotel, like ready to the nines. I have no idea what's about to happen. I just know it's Michael Jackson's birthday. I just know it's a private event. I just know he manages Michael Jackson, who's dead. And so I'm walking through the Mandalay Bay Hotel to the Michael Jackson Theater, and as I'm walking there, I'm just thinking about like, what if I got recognized by a fan right now, like whatever. And as I'm walking, I get recognized by a fan. I keep walking, I get recognized by like 2 or 3 more fans, and they're just like 13-year-old like young kids, and I'm just like, little do you fucking know. I text him that I'm there. I'm standing outside, he walks outside, and as he walks outside of the theater, people start rushing up to him with like pens and papers and like voice recorders, like, can I get an interview? Can I get a quote? I'm like, can I hear about like whatever? Can I hear about Michael Jackson? Like, what do you think about his birthday? Like, all these people like screaming in his face, like fans wanting autographs, people taking his photo, like paparazzi. I don't know what's going on. And he walks over to me, he hands me a wristband for the event, whatever, and we walk inside. But like, people are taking our photo, and again, like, the world doesn't know about this. I don't think I'm gonna tell this story. I don't think I'm gonna tell anyone this story. And this is also much for me to take in, because again, the average sugar daddy on Seeking Arrangements would just like own a fast food chain and like fucking cheat on his wife. This is such a once in a lifetime insane situation, and it makes no fucking sense to me. And also, I'm like balls deep now. Like, what if these photos get released and then like I'm a fucking meme because I'm totally being a meme right now by being on this date with the sugar daddy and just like whatever. It's a private event. Everyone is dressed to the nines. It's all of these like old dudes as well who are like his friends with like their hot like sugar baby wives who are like filled with Botox and like carrying a Birkin and like have the personality of a blender. And I'm just like, do I want this life? He's like, before we go into the event, before we sit down, there's some people I want you to meet. You don't have to believe me. I just teared up. You don't have to believe me, because if I was watching this, I probably wouldn't believe me either, and I get that, but I just have to say it. The story's being told. We're here in this moment. Hello, I'm Tana. And he walks me over to the end of this red carpet, and there is Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson's dad, walking off of this red carpet. What? so shouldn't have done that. It's literally everywhere. And it's not even like this awkward encounter where they're like acquaintances. Like they embrace each other. And Joe's like asking him all these questions about his life. And he's answering them. And finally, like he introduces him to me. And then Joe starts talking to me and like shaking my hand and like asking me questions and like how I am and like am I from Vegas and like how do I know Jim and like all this shit. And I'm sitting here like I'm speaking to Michael Jackson's father about my life because of a seeking arrangements date that I went on. And the story still isn't even crazy yet. Like what? Like literally what? We walk away and we're still just talking and he's being so like, sweet to me and like we're having such a great conversation and he's like, you carry yourself so well, like you're so intelligent. I wouldn't expect you to be that like calm and like the way you handled that conversation was amazing. Like that's so awesome, like all the shit. And I'm like, suck my dick a little harder, why don't you? Like where's my Cartier now? And so we go to sit down in our seats and it's just us sitting there. They're front row, they're reserved for us. All of the seats next to us are empty and reserved and whatever. He's introducing me to more of his friends. They all have the same like bimbo plastic wife that they like bought to be there, and it's so interesting because they're all so dumb and like rude, and it's just like it was making me so disgusted with the moment and like realized that I didn't want to do this. And also just even though I'm talking to him, we're hitting it off, like I still can't like ride your dick backwards. Like, you know, I'm realizing like to me it's not worth the like nice shit or like just whatever. But I also just met Joe Jackson and this guy is incredible, and it's 11:11. I've never seen the Michael Jackson show. I am really excited. This is still a really cool opportunity. I'm trying to make the most of it. And he's like, by the way, I know that you just met Joe, but there's someone that I really, really want you to meet. At this point, I'm just like, okay, so are you gonna resuscitate Michael Jackson from the dead and he's gonna like come hug me and like give me a rose and like $10 million? Like what the fuck is going on? Before I can even process his sentence or say what or ask who, I feel someone sit down next to me. And for some reason, it was just like the second I felt someone sit down next to me, my whole body like tensed up and it was like I was scared to look. And he was just kind of looking at me. He didn't really say anything. I kid you not, I'm sitting there in the seat frozen, just looking at him like, and I feel a tap on my shoulder. I wouldn't believe me either. I really wouldn't. I really, really, really wouldn't. I have chills. I will never forget this moment. And I turn around and it's Janet fucking Jackson. And she looks at Jim and she says, is this the lovely lady you were telling me about earlier? So like low-key, like, is this the dumb hooker that you paid for the weekend? But it's Janet fucking Jackson. Like, I got compared. I looked like Michael Jackson. I looked like, bro, I look like your brother in 9th grade. Nice to meet you. Freshman year of high school, like pre-nose job, I looked like your brother, Michael Jackson, what? And she's like, it's very nice to meet you. And then she's just sitting there having normal ass small talk with me. Like, so have you ever seen the show? It's like my like 50th time or whatever. We just flew in. I literally just got off the helicopter like, no one knows I'm here. Like I'm hiding. I'm gonna go out the back and I'm like, and the show starts. It's incredible, by the way. You can literally go back to my Instagram story of that day. Like, I was there. I love having proof. I love having like story time like with proof and star. But it's so crazy because like my attention span was so bad still, and I have such crippling ADHD, and I didn't want to get on my phone at all because I didn't want to be that bitch and I didn't want to like piss him off. And obviously, imagine sitting next to Janet Jackson watching the Michael Jackson show on his birthday in honor of him and just being like, refresh Twitter. Like, what am I gonna do? Turn and be like, sorry, girl, like, I have crippling ADHD. So I'm like chewing Adderall like through my purse. This is so TMI, but it's already demonetized and I'm trying to put you in the moment. And we've been here for 40 minutes and I broke my camera and I'm still nowhere near done. That's what manic looks like. So then the show's over. It's time for everyone to leave. Janet is going to sneak away, so she kisses my hand. She's like, very nice to meet you, Tana. Like, you're such a sweet girl. Like, have a good night, whatever. Joe comes over, hugs him bye, kisses me on the cheek. Like, two different Jacksons that are not Michael have kissed my face and hands because of a message I sent on Seeking Arrangements. Hi, I'm Tana. Have you subscribed yet? And so at this point, I am just blown away. This would only happen to me. This isn't even a story where I'm like, it's like 1 in a million. It's literally 1 in every person on the entire earth, because this has and never would happen to anyone other than me. As we're leaving, he's like, by the way, we're having a little like, what's the word? What's like the fancy word for like tiny little snack on a toothpick? Not like frozen mini corn dog, but hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres. fuck you. Hors d'oeuvres. He's like, there's this secret little bar upstairs. Me and like 20 of my colleagues and a bunch of the people who work for me are going to like a celebratory like hors d'oeuvres and like cocktail hour after this. Like, I would love it if you came. So even as we're walking out of the one theater, we are getting full on paparazzi. I don't know where these photos go. I don't think they ever surface, to be real with you. It's just like in my prayers to God every night. So like, I really hope they don't. And I'm not even saying that for any like clout token reasons, because it literally wasn't for me. I could have literally been a blow up doll. Like, you know, I'm just setting the scene. As we're walking upstairs, the same fan that took a photo with me walking in comes back up to me and it's like, oh my God, Tana, I'm shaking. Like, can we retake our photo? Like, it was blurry, and takes a selfie with me. And I realize in that moment that this man has no idea what I do. And so then it's this instant, do I fake pour to get more free shit, or do I be honest with this guy because he's nice? And he looks at me and he's like, what was that? And I'm like, well, I told you I was kind of like into social media stuff. Like, I make YouTube videos. Some people support me, hee hee. And I'm just playing it down as fuck because I'm scared as fuck. And obviously if he like finds out what I do and he like Googles me, he could like see my net worth, and then like, what if he thinks I'm scamming? What if he thinks I'm doing this for a story time? Which I wasn't. I'm telling this story now because what the fuck? But like, going into it, I didn't think it would happen like that, you know? What if he doesn't want to like fuck with me after that? Like, whatever. And so then he's like, that's insane. Like, tell me all about that lifestyle. So before I start to tell him about my life, he's like, I actually just sued this like Instagram girl because her company was like making shirts that look like my band tees, that look like the Doors and the Ramones, so the Doors and the Ramones had to like sue this Instagram girl. And I'm like, oh, like who? Like, whatever, you know, he. And he's like, oh, her name's like Kylie Jenner. I remember seeing that like on E! News, like Kylie and Kendall Jenner being sued for copyright infringement of band tees. And now I'm talking to the man who did that, and I'm also like, fuck you, man, like Kylie didn't even do anything wrong. Like, how could you do that to her? So I start telling him all about my life and YouTube and all this kind of stuff, and he's so interested. And if anything, that also is like, wow, like you're interested in my life as well, and you're holding this amazing conversation with me. And it's like, this man who's clearly so intelligent, like if I were to be able to teach him even one thing about the social media space or millennials and how they work digitally and stuff like that, that would be so cool and like an honor, you know? And so then he just looks at me and he's like, so you make a pretty good amount of money, right? And in that moment I'm just like, do I lie? Do I tell him the truth? Do I lie? Do I tell him the truth? Whatever. And I'm like, well, I mean, kinda, yeah. And he looks at me and he's like, well, no, like you were telling me you do shows, and if your ticket prices are in average ranges and you're selling out venues of this many, you would make this much money per show. Not to mention the ads on all of the videos that you do, and obviously you have your own merchandise and all of that way to make your own money. And you'd be dumb not to get branded integrations and whatever, so you probably have a net worth of like $1 million, huh? And what's crazy is this was right at the time that my net worth was about to hit $1 million, like thousands off. What's funny is even like Google had it wrong. I'm like, this man just guessed it in like 9 seconds, and then I'm freaking out because I feel like everything's gonna be over, because I feel like sugar daddies want like a damsel in distress who like can't pay her bills, not like a finesser who's like outsmarting them and taking their money for her rent when like she can pay it, like, you know what I mean? And he looks at me and he's like, were you hiding that from me because you didn't think I would want to give you the world still? And just chuckles to himself, and he's like, I made that in the last day. I could give you a life that you couldn't even think of. And then we go up to this mixer and he's telling all of his colleagues, like, meet my girl, meet my girlfriend, basically. She's this little YouTuber and she has all these followers, and he's like bragging about me to all of these guys that like work for him and are insane business people as well and whatever. She's a young social media entrepreneur and I'm just so proud of her. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, maybe she can teach us a thing or two like about our apps or like whatever. And I'm just like, so now, to recap, we just went to a show with the Jacksons. You know what I do. You're cool with it. And you're still trying to like give me the world. And again, most guys on Seeking Arrangements are on these apps. My YouTuber friends who like actually do that shit and like pop their pussy for fucking money, like pretend to be broke, because most guys on the app would be like, you make as much money as I do. I literally found this like diamond in the rough who like doesn't give a fuck and like wants to help me in any way he can, and is like telling me that he would invest in any business ideas I had because like it would just be fun for him because he likes me. The stock market, but with a person. And so now this mixer's over. It's like 11 p.m. The date should totally be over. And he's like, honestly, we just only had hors d'oeuvres. Like, I want to take you to dinner before we leave. And so then we walk from Mandalay Bay over to the Four Seasons, like with his security, to the restaurant inside of the Four Seasons, which is also, again, one of the most expensive restaurants in Vegas. And also, it's like a Friday or Saturday night. It's Michael Jackson's birthday. There was just this insane show. Hundreds of people absolutely everywhere. Mandalay Bay is connected to the Four Seasons and it's fucking packed, and this restaurant is packed packed to the brim, and it's already the type of restaurant that you would have to make like a 5-month reservation for. And we walk in, he walks up, he asks the person there to speak to the manager. The manager walks out, instantly recognizes him. They don't even exchange words really. Like, I think he was prepared to talk to him, and then the guy just recognized him and knew he wanted to eat there and was like, Mr. blah blah blah, says his last name, give me 5 minutes, like I will clear out the best room in the house for you. Clears out this insane fucking room in this restaurant. There's like a grand piano, there's a person playing the grand piano in this room. Just like, imagine me as well, bleach blonde to the roots, in a hoe ass like Topshop House of CB dress. Like, there's probably like Taco Bell sauce under my fingernails, you know what I mean? Like, if you looked at me up close, my spray tan was probably like running off my body. I have no means being here at all. And we sit down again and we dive into this amazing conversation once again, and it ends with him saying something to me like, I just want you to know, like, I know that you're young and I know that this situation is clearly a very interesting and new dynamic for you, but I just want to let you know it would be my pleasure to take care of someone as intelligent and driven and like funny and like all these compliments like as you. And like I told you yesterday, I've lived this crazy life and all I ever want to do is mentor young people and help young business people and whatever. Like, I would love to invest in you, mentor you, help you with anything that you would ever need, give you the best lawyers you would ever need. Start showing me photos and videos of all of his different yachts and like cars and homes and all this kind of stuff. Quick random coincidence, because this wouldn't be a Tana Mojo video without one. Totally random, don't need to tell you, but I have to tell you. He's showing me photos of all of his houses and he's like, but this is my main one, like in Hollywood Hills. And I'm like, that's crazy that you live in Hollywood Hills. Because when I signed up for Seeking Arrangements, I was in Hollywood Hills and I put my thing saying nearby. And he's like, oh, like where were you staying? And I tell him the address. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe me. Seriously, you don't. I wouldn't believe me. Like, I wouldn't believe me when I say this. I tell him the address and he looks at me and he's like, this is going to sound insane, but you were my neighbor. And you didn't even know it. Not like same neighborhood. Like, let's say the address of where I was staying was 123 Sugar Daddy Drive. He lives at 124. What? My jaw just drops. I'll never forget this moment of my life, because what the fuck? I don't even want to sit here and say to you, what the fuck are the odds? Because what the fuck are the odds of me laying in this house, on this couch, dreaming of living lavish, and 5 days later to be sitting with this guy who was next door to me while I was manifesting this reality that I'm currently in? And he's like, honestly, I've dated a lot of women in my life, but I've never met someone who carries such a coincidental air like you, and this isn't a coincidence. And all of these weird coincidences keep happening, and we're clearly meant to be here in this moment.
Are you filming?
Yeah.
Love that for you.
I'm never gonna finish this video. Elijah's here. You wanna say hi?
Wow, what an intro.
Are you really exposed? Are you exposed right now?
I'm exposed right now.
Oh, give me that clout. What's trending?
Shit.
What's good?
She only added me to this because she wanted to smoke this blunt and she didn't want me to leave the room with the blunt.
What I did on purpose, I swear. But like, I get how it looks like that, and I accept that. You know? Okay, out. Will you close the door? Sorry. Anyways. And he's just like, yeah, I don't really think that this is coincidental anymore. It's very clear that we are in the right place at the right time, and whatever's going on is meant to be going on. And all of these weird coincidences, you can totally look at them as coincidences, but it's also the universe lining up. And as he's saying this, it's also fucking with my head, because that's how I think. And he's like, honestly, this might sound weird, but it's just how I am. Last week, I was shopping in a jewelry store and I saw this bracelet and I thought it was beautiful. And I brought it with me tonight because I decided that if we really hit it off, I wanted to give it to you. Like a year ago, I struggled to buy the dollar menu. Like, sister still loves a good Four Loko. Sister still loves a good Swisher Sweet. Like, my spray tan is sweating on my body. This eyelash is coming unglued. I'm wearing a Bombshell that has like purple shampoo stains on it. That's a real thing. I actually have a Bombshell bra with... Okay, you get it. And I felt like once I accepted this gift, it was like, that was me basically saying like, I'm down for it. Like, and obviously this guy with this life, and he's probably so used to girls like me, like fucking him and like being into him and kissing all over him and like all that kind of shit. Obviously, if you're investing in me this hard in like a relationship manner, like you're probably gonna want that. And I don't think I can fulfill that. And it's also like all of these moments where you feel like this like blow up doll on his arm. Like, do you want to limit the way that you feel about yourself yourself to that in this life, you know? The entire world would look at you so differently if you were public about this. And do you want to hide from this? Do you want to hide from that? And just all these questions are racing through my mind and I don't even know what to say. And before I know it, he's putting this bracelet on my wrist. And so then he gives me the box with the receipt inside and he's like, you can do with it what you want. Blatantly bold-faced just looks at me and is like, and if you didn't want it, I don't care, you can sell it, like whatever. I just think it's pretty and it looks pretty on your wrist. And then he looks at me, grabs my chin and looks at me and is like, you're a diamond. You just needed a little polishing. Fuck you! No. But like, what? I literally felt like I was in a movie. I was gonna say Pretty Woman, but isn't she like a hooker? And so then the date comes to an end. Obviously, I thank him for this gift. This diamond bracelet's fucking beautiful. I'm assuming it's worth a lot of money, but I don't even know the half of it yet. He walks me out of the restaurant through a back entrance. This time it's not Goran, it's just a random car service. And he walks me out of the car service. I just wanted to thank you for such an incredible time tonight. Like, little did I know the coincidental person that I took a risk on for the first time on seeking arrangements, like, would be so incredible. Like, I can't wait to literally give you like everything you've ever dreamt of. Like, you name it and I will make it happen. And I'm like, thank you so much. I just want to let you know, like, even though I'm still so confused by all of this, like, tonight was really incredible and you're really awesome. And he looks at me and he leans in, this 6'7" giant 55-year-old man that I am so physically obviously not attracted to, leans in for a kiss. And I realize I can't do it and I don't want to do it because I know for the rest of my life I will, I guess, be dissatisfied or disappointed with that moment or in myself. I'm not saying it's wrong with anyone who does it. It just wasn't what I wanted and I knew that. And I knew, obviously, even though all of this smoke and mirrors and everything has been so incredible, you obviously are going to question, are you in it for the right reasons? And obviously my answer was no. And if anything, I would have felt less bad if it was some guy whose bio was like, tie me up and step on my balls for $200. But here's this genuine, incredible man who does just want a connection and to take care of me and is so awesome and doesn't want his time wasted and whatever. And here I am, essentially, in my opinion at least, wasting it. But he's just like, oh, okay. And he pulls away and he's super respectful about it. And if anything, that within itself like separates him from most guys, men, grandfathers. And he's like, well, all right, like, so I'll see you back in Los Angeles. You're headed there in a few days. I'm headed there tomorrow. And I'm like, wait, actually, that's crazy. I also have to go back to Los Angeles tomorrow. Like, I had some meeting or something. And he looks at me just oh so like flirtatious and lovingly. And it's just like, oh, so like what? You thought we were gonna travel at the same time again, but not together? And he's just like laughing to himself. You're never flying commercial again. Meet me at the jet at noon. I'll text you the address. And I don't even know what to say or how to process that. And I look back at him and for some reason, I do this all the time. When shit makes me nervous or shit's like uncomfortable or different, I just speak my brain. And I was like, I have to fly with my assistant. Like, I have to fly with her. Like, I have to bring her. I have to buy her plane ticket. You don't have to do that. Like, it's fine. Like, I'll fly Southwest. Like, I'll meet you there. Like, it's totally fine. Like, I'm down to LAS to LAX, this bitch. Like, I'm humble. It's fine. And he looks at me and he's like, I'll employ your assistant. I'll write your assistant's paychecks. Bring her. So now you're trying to employ my employees and like, that would really save me a lot of money and that's like why I signed up for the app, but like, fuck, I can't do this. I get in the car and I sit down and I'm literally to the point of tears just staring at this diamond bracelet. Like, what do? I can't accept this. I don't know what to do. And as I'm having this debate, I look down and I see the box that the bracelet came in and I open it up just out of curiosity. You don't have to believe me. And I know when I say 15,000, sometimes there's, especially with people, there's just not 15,000 people. But she was a brand new $15,000 tennis bracelet that this man just gave me within 48 hours of knowing me. And I just met the Jacksons. And tomorrow, if I get on this jet, I potentially never have to pay for my employee ever again or fly commercial ever again. But I'm still having this insane emotional turmoil. I go home, I'm talking to all my friends about it. I don't know what the fuck to do. And all of my friends are like, you're a fucking idiot. This is exactly what you wanted. This is why you signed up for seeking arrangements. This is like, you're an idiot, Tana. Like, literally just laughing at me like you're so stupid. In a million years, this could not even be the best case scenario. You will never get this opportunity again. You'll probably never meet someone with this much wealth or this much intelligence or this crazy of a life story or that wants to take care of you like this ever again. Just do it, do it, do it. You're already going to LA tomorrow. What are you gonna do? Buy your flights right now? You've never even been on a private jet. Why don't you just get on the jet? Like, even if you don't want to do it, like, or just never talk to him again, keep the bracelet. Like, it's not like he really cares. Like, why are you thinking so into this? And I'm like, he's just such a great guy. And like, I would totally like love him as like my teacher or something. Like, I don't want to fuck him, but I feel bad. And like, and they're like, so this is the one time you're gonna be like an amazing person, is when you could be a fucking fucking billionaire for the rest of your life and never lift a finger again and like never worry about anything again? And I'm just like, I think so. And so all night I stay up, I don't sleep. I pack my bags. He texts me the address of the airport. He sends me a driver. My assistant is with me. We take our bags out. We put them in the car. The whole car ride, she's just like, do it. Like, there's no point in not doing it. Obviously, she's also like, pay raise for me. So like, she's gonna tell me to do it. But I'm just like, okay, fine. Like, I mean, like, we're on the way to Henderson Executive Airport in Vegas, which I've never flown out of, and like only like rich, weird lawyers who are like my rich friends growing up's dads fly out of. What the fuck is going on? But like, I'm here and I'm doing it and I can't back out now. And so we take this car service all the way to the jet. Like, maybe that's why I'm never releasing Kobe, because when I said drop me off right at the jet, like I was lying and like, you know, we have better music to release now. Like, shut the fuck up about Kobe now. Pulls up to the jet. Like, literally there's a little carpet and stairs. And I get out of the car, the driver gets the bags out of the car, and I'm standing there. The driver drives away. On my way to the jet, he was texting me pictures of one of his boats, like asking me to go on it the next day. You don't have to believe that, I understand, it's fine, we're in that deep. I said that sentence and I was like, okay, great Gatsby. Like, what? He walks down the little stairs and walks up to me. Like, the plane, it's literally, it's loud as fuck. Like, the plane is like ready to go. He's like sending someone down to literally get my bags, and he's like fashionably late, like just like I expected. So boat tomorrow? Shakes my assistant's hands, basically like insinuates that he's gonna be paying her checks now, and turns around to start walking into the jet. And something in me just can't do it. And I'm like, wait! Like, never even been. To this day, I've still never been on a private jet. And I didn't even let myself like walk upstairs and like take a tour. I'm like, wait. And he's like, what? And I start taking off this bracelet and I'm just like, I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm the type of girl who wants to be taken care of. Please take this back. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm sorry, and I know this is a bad time, but I know the second that I get on this jet, the second that I accept this bracelet, the fact that I even accepted your dinners and your date or whatever doesn't feel right to me, especially because you're such a good person, and what you want, or at least what I think you want out of this, is something I could never fulfill, and I'm not ready to live this lifestyle if it means being your keychain, your accessory, the replaceable dumb girl on your arm. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you don't think of me like that at all, but the world will perceive me that way, and it's sad that that's the way things work, but I don't think I can handle that, and I don't want to take advantage of you. You deserve to take care of someone who wants to take care of you back and wants to accept it all and will do everything in her power to make you, her man, happy, and that's just not me. I want to fuck Key and Lolly, you know? At the time, not now, but also now, but like, anyways. And so he takes the bracelet and he's like, nice to meet you, Tana. If you ever need anything, you know where to find me. Get it? Because like, I know where he lives because he was neighbors in the house that I was neighbors with, and also like I could just text him, and like also he said he would take care of me, and like that's what he meant. And then he just turned around, walked up onto the plane, and I walked away and ordered an Uber X. And now this is the story about the time that my Uber driver tried to murder me. No, I'm just kidding. But really, like, walked to the front of the airport and ordered an Uber X home, and then flew Southwest like 10 hours later and probably missed the flight. And I never spoke to him again. And so that's the story of the time I downloaded Seeking Arrangements in hopes of getting a sugar daddy. Met a person with one of the most incredible life stories ever and most incredible lifestyles ever. Was shown the world on a silver platter in my face and turned it down because I'm a fucking idiot. Really, I don't know what the moral of the story is here. So many people would go to say that I'm stupid as fuck for not doing it, but then so many people I feel like would also understand where I'm coming from, and maybe I know that the cookie crumbles both ways and all ways, and I totally don't know what the moral of the story is here, and you can take from this whatever you will, but that is my only sugar daddy story. So if it took you 45 minutes to find out that no, I didn't pop my pussy on some grandpa dick for like a Coachella ticket, I'm sorry. I really, really never thought I would be telling this story on the internet. And I mean, don't find him, don't crucify him. He's a fucking great dude, and that's totally not the point of the story, and I really hope it doesn't go in that direction because like go him, like go off. Manage Michael Jackson and get you a fucking Kendra Wilkinson to suck and fuck you, like, you know, and hopefully she has a brain and is awesome like you are. Yeah. And that's so weird because a part of me feels like he's gonna see this, or was I talking to him the whole time? And like, if you're watching this, hi, and like if this does reconnect us, I'm not complaining, I don't think, but I also don't know, because now you know that I don't think I can, like, you know, fuck you. So yeah, that was my sugar daddy story. If you guys want me to stay on Seeking Arrangements and maybe get another story like this, just leave this video like I'm just happy that I filmed that whole video. I broke my camera in the meantime. I've been here for 4.5 hours. It's literally midnight. I started filming this video at 8:30. That's 3.5 hours. Sorry, I can't do math. Yeah, I'm gonna shut the fuck up. I'm so glad to be making content. I love you guys. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, so thank you for supporting me. I'm like, thank you for subscribing, for clicking the fucking bell. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Be safe if you're on Seeking Arrangements. Also Seeking Arrangements, business email in bio. Should I send you an invoice? Because this video is basically sponsored by you. Bye, guys. I can't believe I just told you that. If this actually made it to the internet, like 45th times the charm, am I right, motherfuckers?